Put God first. That's the beginning of every blessing in my life. I didn't get here just by talent or luck or hard work, though all that matters. I got here because I put God first. The world will tell you to chase fame, chase money, chase recognition. But none of that means anything if you don't know who's guiding your steps. So I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to tell you the truth. Success without God is empty. You want peace, power, put God first. Put God first. That's it. That's the foundation. That's the start, the middle, and the end of every step I've ever taken. You see, the world will tell you to chase money, chase fame, chase position. But what it doesn't tell you is that those things don't last. They're temporary. They vanish. But when you put God first, when you let your Creator guide your path, something shifts. You walk with purpose. You move with power. You don't have to force anything because you're aligned with something far bigger than yourself. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. There were moments in my life when I had no answers. Times when the money wasn't coming. The phone wasn't ringing, and I didn't know if any of this would work out. But I stayed faithful. Not perfect, just faithful. And I kept reminding myself, if God brought me to it, He'll bring me through it. You might not see the full picture now, but trust me, there is a plan unfolding in your life that's greater than anything you could imagine. It's easy to forget God when things are going good. That's human nature. When the checks are rolling in, when the name is in lights, when the applause is loud, we start thinking we did it all ourselves. But I've learned those are the moments you need God even more. Because success without God is empty. It's a trap. It'll leave you chasing validation, hungry for more, never satisfied. But when God is your foundation, you can have peace with or without the spotlight. Some of the most powerful moments of my life weren't on a stage. They weren't in front of cameras or at award shows. They were in silence, alone, on my knees, thanking God, asking for strength, asking for guidance, asking for grace. And every time I got up, I walked away stronger, clearer, more focused. That's what it means to put God first. It's not just about Sunday morning or quoting scripture when it's convenient. It's about making Him the CEO of your life, letting Him call the shots, even when it doesn't make sense. Now, putting God first doesn't mean life gets easy. In fact, sometimes it gets harder. Sometimes God has to strip things away from you to show you who you really are. You'll lose people. You'll miss opportunities. Doors will close. But every no is setting you up for a greater yes. Every setback is a setup for something bigger. God doesn't waste pain. He uses it. And when you're walking in faith, you start to realize delayed doesn't mean denied. Some of you are waiting on a breakthrough right now. You're frustrated. You're praying, but nothing's moving. I've been there. But let me tell you something, just because you don't mean it's not working. God is behind the scenes, arranging things, removing obstacles, opening paths you can't see yet. Your job isn't to figure out how. Your job is to trust. Keep showing up. Keep doing your part. Keep putting God first and watch what happens. And when He does bless you, and He will, don't forget where it came from. Don't take the credit. Don't act like you made it alone. Stay humble. Stay grateful. Because the same God who lifts you up can humble you in a second. So honor Him with your words, with your time, with your work. Let your success be a testimony, not a trophy. Let it point people back to the one who made it possible. Putting God first isn't weakness. It's strength. It's not about religion. It's about relationship. It's about waking up every day knowing you're covered, knowing you're guided, knowing you're not walking through this life alone. And when you've got that kind of confidence, that kind of peace, that kind of purpose, there's nothing you can't face. So yeah, put God first, not second, not when it's convenient, not when things fall apart. First before the dream, before the decision, before the deal, and everything else. It'll fall into place. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. That's not just a clever phrase. That's a fact rooted in life's deepest truths. Most people fear struggle. They run from discomfort. They think that if life gets too hard, then something must be wrong. But the truth is, the moment things get too easy, that's when growth stops. That's when mediocrity sneaks in. That's when dreams begin to die slowly, quietly, without you even realizing it. Think about it. When do you grow the most? It's not when everything's perfect. It's not when life is smooth and predictable. It's when you're tested. It's when your back is against the wall. It's when you don't know how you're going to make it through. But you push forward anyway. That's when your character is forged. That's when your real strength shows up. You see, hardship teaches. It breaks down your pride and builds up your humility. It reveals your flaws and forces you to work on them. It doesn't care about your comfort zone. It forces you out of it. And that's exactly where you need to be if you want to become great. You don't become excellent by doing what's easy. You become excellent by doing what's necessary, especially when it's difficult. Ease, on the other hand, is seductive. It whispers to you, relax. You've done enough. Don't push yourself today. And if you listen to it long enough, it becomes your master. It convinces you that average is okay, that settling is acceptable, that good enough is good enough. But deep down, you know that's not true. You were made for more. You were born with gifts, with a purpose, with potential, and ease is the enemy of all three. Denzel Washington didn't become who he is by chasing ease. He failed. He struggled. He took risks. He got rejected. But he didn't run from it. He leaned into it. He learned from every fall. He got stronger with every setback. That's how you grow. That's how you rise. The world doesn't reward easy. It rewards excellence. It rewards persistence. It rewards people who are willing to do what others won't. If you want to stand out, you have to go through what most people avoid. You have to choose the harder path. Not because it's fun, not because it's fast, but because it's worth it. There's a quote that says, smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. That's life. You want to be strong, face the storm. You want to lead. Want to grow, embrace the challenge. The easy road might feel comfortable in the moment, but it's the hard road that builds champions. We live in a world that celebrates convenience, fast food, fast success, instant gratification. But real success, that takes time, that takes grind, that takes resilience, and it takes a mindset that refuses to settle for what's easy. So when life gets hard, don't complain, don't fold, don't wish it away. Instead, recognize it for what it is, a signal that you're being shaped, refined, prepared. Pressure makes diamonds. Fire purifies gold. And struggle creates strength. Every champion has a story of struggle. Every great person you admire had to go through something to become who they are. They didn't skip the pain. They didn't avoid the pressure. They faced it. And because they faced it, they earned the right to stand tall. So ask yourself, are you chasing comfort or are you chasing growth? Because you can't have both. Growth demands discomfort. It requires sacrifice. It asks more of you than you think you can give. And then it shows you that you're capable even more than that. This isn't about being tough for the sake of it. This is about choosing purpose over pleasure, choosing destiny over distraction, choosing the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. So when ease comes knocking, ignore it. When struggle shows up, welcome it. Because every moment of hardship is a step toward who you were meant to become. And every time you choose the hard path, you separate yourself from the crowd. You step into greatness. Ease is the real enemy. Struggle is the secret weapon. Don't forget that. Dream big. That's what they tell you, right? Dream big. Reach for the stars. Chase your passion. And that's good advice. It really is. But let me tell you something that most people won't. Dreams without goals are just dreams. And eventually, they become regrets. We live in a time where people talk a lot about vision boards, ambition. I'm manifesting this. And I'm not knocking any of that. But none of it means anything if you don't back it up with consistent, focused effort. You can pray, you can visualize, you can repeat affirmations in the mirror all day long. But if you don't have goals, if you don't have discipline, then your dream is just floating in the wind. And one day you'll wake up and realize that years have passed and that dream you were holding on to, it's still sitting there untouched. Dreams are the blueprint. Goals are the bricks. Discipline, that's the cement. Without it, you're building a castle in the sky, and castles in the sky don't last. See, dreaming big is the easy part. Everyone dreams. Everyone has some idea of who they want to be or what they want to do. But very few are willing to put in the work day in and day out. When it's not glamorous, when it's not fun, when nobody's watching. That's where goals come in, not just long-term goals. I'm talking daily goals, weekly goals, small targets that keep you moving, that keep you honest. Let's get real. Most people quit not because the dream wasn't real, but because never broke it down into pieces they could handle. You want to be a doctor. That's a dream. But what are your goals for this month, this week, today? Are you willing to sacrifice the parties, the scrolling, the distractions? Because the dream will ask for a price. And your goals are how you start paying it. There's something else, too. Goals give you structure. They give you a measuring stick. See, when you've got real goals, you can look at your life and say, am I getting closer or not? That level of honesty, it's tough, but it's necessary because the dream isn't going to wait on you. Life keeps moving. And if you don't start moving with it, you're going to fall behind, not just in success, but in fulfillment. People ask me all the time, Denzel, how do I stay motivated? And I tell them, motivation isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. And the way you create it is by making progress, even small progress. When you finish a goal, no matter how small, it does something to you. It builds confidence. It creates momentum. That's what gets you through the days when you feel tired, when you feel like quitting, when the dream feels too far away. And look, it's not going to be perfect. Some days you'll fall short. Some goals you'll miss. That's part of it. But when you've got a dream and it's tied to a mission, when your goals are rooted in something deeper than just money or status, you'll keep going. You'll find the strength to rise again. You know what else goals do? They make you responsible. When you've got clear goals, you can't lie to yourself anymore. You either did what you said you'd do or you didn't. That's the accountability most people avoid. But it's what separates the dreamers from the doers. Anyone can talk about what they want to be. But when you start setting goals and sticking to them, even when no one's watching, that's when you become dangerous. That's when you start becoming unstoppable. And here's the real truth: your dream is possible. It's not too big. It's not too late. But it will take everything you've got. It will take vision. It'll take sweat. And it will take goals. Because if you don't know where you're going, how will you ever know when you get there? So yes, dream big. Dream so big it scares you. But then wake up every day with a plan. Wake up every day with a reason. Wake up every day with a goal. Because dreams alone are beautiful. But dreams with goals, that's legacy. That's where real success lies. And I promise you, if you stay faithful to the goals, the dream will come find you. Fail big, fail forward, take risks. Those 3 short sentences from Denzel Washington carry the weight of a lifetime. They sound simple, but they represent a mindset, a way of walking through the world that separates the dreamers from the doers. You see, most people are taught to avoid failure. From the time we're young, we're told to play it safe, to follow the rules, to color inside the lines. Don't mess up. Don't fall down. Don't embarrass yourself. But Denzel challenges all of that. He says, fail big, not fail small. Not fail in private. Fail big. That means stepping out so far beyond your comfort zone that failure becomes part of the journey, not the end of it. He's not saying to chase failure for the sake of it. He's saying that if your goals, your ambitions, your dreams don't scare you just a little bit or a lot, then they're probably not big enough. If you're always choosing the safe route, you're not growing. If you're only doing what you're good at, you're not evolving. And if you're not evolving, you're not really living. When Denzel says, fail forward, he's telling you that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every great person you admire, from athletes to artists, from entrepreneurs to world leaders, they've all failed. Some of them failed publicly, spectacularly. But they didn't stay down. They used every setback as a stepping stone. They fell forward. That means every time life knocked them down, they landed a little closer to their goal. That's what failing forward looks like. It's not graceful. It's not pretty. But it's powerful. Think about it. If you're going to fail, and you will, because everyone does, why not fail moving forward? Why not fall while chasing something extraordinary instead of sitting on the sidelines, avoiding the risk? Playing small doesn't protect you. It just delays your growth. You might avoid pain, sure, but you also avoid purpose. You avoid meaning. You avoid discovering who you really are when things get hard. Denzel once shared that he auditioned for a Broadway play early in his career and didn't get the part. It stung. It would have been easy to let that rejection define him. But he didn't let it stop him. He kept showing up, kept getting better, kept failing forward. And years later, he won a Tony Award on that same Broadway stage. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when you trust the process, when you believe in yourself even when the world doesn't. That's what happens when you dare to fail forward. This idea of taking risks, of embracing failure, isn't just about your career or your goals. It's about your character. It's about who you're becoming in the process. Every time you step into the unknown, every time you do the thing that scares you, you get a little stronger. Your courage grows. Your resilience grows. And that strength, that's what carries you when the spotlight fades, when the applause stops, when it's just you and the challenge in front of you. Denzel isn't saying it'll be easy. It won't. There will be moments of doubt, fear, even humiliation. But that's where the real growth happens. That's where the fire is lit. When everything in you says, stop, but something stronger says, keep going. That's where you rise. That's where you become unstoppable. You have a choice: live with fear or live with faith. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. That kind of fear keeps people stuck their whole lives. But faith says, I may fall, but I'll fall forward. Faith says, I don't have to see the whole staircase. I just need to take the first step. Faith says, my failure is not final. My setback is not the end of my story. So go for it. Fail big. Take the shot. Audition for the part. Start the business. Write the book. Tell the truth. Love fully. Risk it all for what matters. Because in the end, what will haunt you most won't be the things you tried and failed at. It'll be the things you never tried at all. Denzel Washington reminds us that a life without failure is a life without growth. A life without risk is a life without reward. And a life lived in fear is no life at all. So step out, dare greatly, fall if you must. But whatever you do, fall forward. Don't just aspire to make a living, aspire to make a difference. That statement alone holds more weight than most people are ready for, because we live in a time where success is measured by numbers. Your bank balance, your followers, your salary, your status. But none of that means anything if, at the end of your life, you've only built a resume but never impacted a soul. You see, making a living is necessary, no doubt. You got to eat, you got to provide, you got to survive. But if survival is your only goal, you're playing a small game in a world built for greatness. And Denzel Washington, a man who climbed from humble beginnings to global recognition, never forgot this core truth. What you do for yourself will make a living, but what you do for others will make a legacy. Too many people chase titles, but they never think about impact. They want recognition, but they never ask themselves, what am I leaving behind when I'm gone? See, money can buy you a house, but it can't buy you peace. Fame can fill a room, but it can't fill your soul. It's easy to fall into the trap of grinding just to make it. But the real question is, see, what are you making it for? If you get everything you think you want, but never use it to uplift somebody else, what's the point? Denzel speaks with the kind of clarity that only comes from experience. He stood in rooms most people only dream of. He's worn the suits, walked the red carpets, received the awards. And yet, he'll still tell you, straight, that stuff doesn't matter. Not really. What matters is who you helped, whose life you touched, who walked away from a moment with you and became better because of it. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how successful you were. It's about how significant you were. It starts small. Maybe it's showing up for your family when they need you. Maybe it's lifting up a coworker who's falling apart inside. Maybe it's speaking life into a young person who's never had anyone believe in them. That's the difference. That's the mark of someone who's not just living, but leading. And when Denzel says, aspire to make a difference, he's not talking about grand gestures. He's talking about intentional living, living with purpose, living with awareness, using your platform, big or small, to make someone else's life a little better. And let's be real, making a difference isn't always glamorous. It's not always Instagram worthy. Sometimes it's thankless. Sometimes no one claps for you. But do it anyway. Because legacy isn't built in applause, it's built in sacrifice. You don't have to be a celebrity to be a light. You don't need a stage to lead. You just need the courage to care, the courage to be present, the courage to say, how can I serve with what I've got? We spend so much time chasing the next level, the next raise, the next opportunity. And there's nothing wrong with ambition. But make sure your ambition is rooted in something deeper than ego. Let it be rooted in impact. Because when you get to the end of your journey, you won't be thinking about how many followers you had. You'll be thinking about the people, the ones who needed you, the ones you showed up for, the ones who carry a piece of your wisdom, your heart, your example into their own journey. You see, a job is what you're paid for, but your calling is what you're made for. And some of you are working hard at your job, but sleeping on your calling. You have gifts. You have a voice. You have a purpose. And somebody out there is waiting for you to wake up to it. Somebody out there needs exactly what you bring to the table. So don't waste it. Don't spend your entire life climbing a ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. Start now. Serve now. Give now. Be kind now. Be generous now. Make a difference where you are with what you have. Because one day, when it's all said and done, and the lights fade and the curtain drops, you won't be remembered by what you had. You'll be remembered by what you gave. And if you lived right, if you loved hard, if you made people feel seen and known and empowered, then you didn't just make a living. You made a life that mattered.